right, episode 39. So we're talking today about hiring talent. Are you good at hiring? If you are, go ahead and turn this off. Don't listen. You don't need to watch. Don't leave us a review. But if you're not, are you good at training and finding talent? We're going to talk about where to find talent, how to hire them, how to train them. We're going to get started right now.
Welcome to the only real estate podcast worth listening to, with your hosts Nick Good, Matt Kelderman, and Brian Force. Combined, they have 26 years of experience and have sold over 1,500 homes. Join them each week as they bring you everything you need to know about real estate. And now, here are your hosts, Nick, Matt, and Brian.
All right. This is going to be a great episode, but before we get started, are you struggling to work with more sellers? Are you struggling when you're running those appointments to convert them into clients? If you are, then you need to go ahead and sign up for our free webinar on how we take over 10 plus listings every single month. Just go ahead and go to touracademy.com/take10, and the word 10 is spelled out T-E-N. The number 10 is spelled out T-E-N.
The word 10.
The word 10.
I'm looking at you right now, dude, and I see your misery of how cold. I've been trying to get away from this stupid cold. I moved to Texas for a reason.
I know. And our office is cold.
Oh.
And 2 days ago, I found out after 2 days of doing it that the thermostat in our office is backwards. So I've been turning it down as cold as possible.
Oh, awesome. Well, nobody
every
gave me that
morning.
information today because I wonder why it's freezing my
and then
ass off.
finally a lady was like, it's the backwards.
I had no idea. I was literally about because it's Nick's old office, right? So those of you who don't know, we're now Nick's old office, and I almost texted him, been like, "What in the hell is wrong with this office?" I had it turned up to 85, and I'm like, "It's getting colder in here." Like,
no, we love the cold, and even at my house, right? So, what do you think the optimal sleeping temperature is?
68.
65.
What does optimal mean? That it preserves your body?
I don't know. Yeah,
the best.
If you die in the middle of the night, how are you going to look the freshest in the morning?
Yeah, exactly. What's that mean?
I mean, that you get the best refreshed sleep.
Oh.
So 65 to 68 degrees.
I thought that was more of an emotional thing, but I guess temperature has something to do with it too.
The first big thing I ever bought when I had a first big closing, like first big piece of furniture was like this really expensive mattress that stayed super cold. And I was so excited about it.
How much was that mattress?
$5,000.
Yeah, I just bought a $10,000 mattress.
What?
That's ridiculous.
Dude, I get my shit on clearance in Nebraska Furniture Mart, the shit that people bring back to the store.
I just went in the
And I buy mattresses where, so God knows what they did on them.
when I got divorced,
Glass just shattered in my head because I just thought about the reality of that.
When I got divorced, I had bought a used mattress as well. So got it. I think it was on Craigslist or something like that.
There's no way.
I'm not buying it off. It was from a store. I didn't buy it off Craigslist.
Mine was off Craigslist.
It wasn't even unsealed.
Nick
it was
bought the sheets too.
Yeah, like
Give me the
mine
whole
was still
thing.
came in the original package. It wasn't like from some dude that I had to meet in a Quick Chip parking lot.
It said it had only been used a couple times.
You know what that means.
So that's some stuff I just can't do. Man.
Yikes.
Like I don't know, furniture off Craigslist and stuff, because I know what I do on mine.
Eat dinner and drink coffee. We understand.
And pray.
Yeah.
Pray. Yeah.
Our entire house that you're sitting on was bought. I think other than
My entire house that you're sitting on.
yeah.
What?
So in the furniture is all Craigslist
like
finds.
everywhere in your house
other than the breakfast table. So it's all Craigslist because I'm cheap.
I bet they've done it there too.
My house is like furnitured with 5-year-old tables and chairs, and whatever.
Like
What are we
for
supposed
a 5-year-old.
Yeah, for a legitimate 5-year-old. Like
you have a Gulliver's Travels sort of deal
looks like
going on
come
in
sit with me. I gotta get like 2 of his chairs, one for each ass cheek.
All right. We're starting early today because Derek, our producer, booked another time slot at 3.
He essentially said, "Hey, I have this show that's a lot more important than your show, and
One
I'm
of our
going to need you
real
guys to move."
shows is shooting at 3.
And he knew he had us by the bees because he's a part of Brian's billionaire idea, which is really the only reason people tune into this anymore.
I knew I had the leverage, boys. I had to.
Yep.
Speaking of hiring new talent, what are we talking about today, boys?
Ouch.
So this is the main thing that I'm sure we all struggle with, right? I know in our business, like Austin and I, my brother, that's one thing we're like, dude, we suck at really finding the best talent. The interview process is horrible.
Yep.
Right? Because
It's long.
It's long. You go through it and you're like, oh, this person's great. And then all of a sudden they let you down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know. This is one of the things that you say you suck at, but the reality is this is so much just like lead gen for an individual agent. Like, it's so much just all about resilience and perseverance, because there just is, like, the more deep down this rabbit hole that you and I get, like, we find that, like, there's no perfect way to do this, like, with it, whether it's bringing on agents and partnering with them, whether it's hiring talent or whatever. Like, it's difficult to find people that say what they're going to do and do what they're going to say, right?
Yep.
Like, it is, we have some really talented people that we've partnered with. I would say most notably the operational side of both of our locations is fundamentally awesome,
Yeah.
right? And it's crazy because, you know, when I think about it, like, the reality is, like, I'm married to one of them, so that's just, but that doesn't make her more talented. I mean, unless hanging out with me makes you more talented. But
Probably more stressed out.
yeah, I mean, that's how we met, though. We met because, you know, she worked at a title company. She was an escrow officer there. We started dating when she was a listing coordinator for us, and she just grew into all these different roles and all these different things. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I organically was with somebody while they developed into, like, a legitimately unbelievable, highly integral part of our business, like, over time. But outside of that relationship part of thing, like, she's super good at what she does because she's been with us for years in some capacity or another, right? Same with some of our VAs and things like that. Like, part of it is, like, we want people to come on and just blow it out of the water right away and just be awesome right away. Hiring talent is difficult because, one, you have to actually identify talent. Two, you have to find people that are going to operate the way that you need to operate. And then three, you need people that are going to grow with your business. That's the biggest part.
I think that's what
growing with your business.
You and I right now have a core group of, especially on the ops side, of people who are passionately excited about what we're doing, right? Like, 100%, we have people whose talent does not match their pay scale.
Oh, for sure.
Like, we have people on our team that are really...
Thanks for muting me like 3 minutes late there.
We have people on our team. We have people on our team who legitimately, like, they are a part of the growth, right? Like, they see the future opportunity, so
Yes.
we're willing, you know. You said something the other day, and this may not work for every single market, but we've knocked it out of the park with people who used to be in title, right?
Yes.
Like, I don't know if it's just because they touch every part of the transaction or what it is, but
they're awesome at dealing with difficult situations, thinking on the fly, and dealing with difficult people.
Yep.
I think is part of it too. But yeah, you're right. Like, that's it's growing into that role. Like, that's in being. You're 100% right that we have people that do not get paid what they need to, right? And that obviously is changing in the future for sure. But I think that one of the reasons we've had some success, and likely you too, on your side, Nick, is that, like, I know the people on your team that are talented, and you have a fundamentally close relationship with them. Like, you love them and pour into them at a high level. I think that is so key, is to really get in business with people that see your vision and buy into it from the get-go.
yeah.
And no matter what their position, at all levels. If you're bringing on people just to complete tasks, they will always eventually let you down.
Well, I mean, first off, when you're ready to start locating talent, usually what happens in your business is that you're at some type of stress or breaking point,
Yep.
right? So usually the reason why I think what I've identified why we fail, and when I'm, you know, coaching or really looking into agents' businesses, it's they hire out of necessity and out of that.
Oh, I'm cutting you off because this is where you're going. Somebody just commented. Read that comment and respond. Brian Fox, I understand where you're coming from. I just cut off Nick for the first time in a year of doing this because I think this is incredibly important that we address right now. And this, I think, where
I'll
Nick
read
was
it while
going
Nick reads it
anyway.
too, so we get on
I
there.
think
So-
this is exactly where Nick was going with this, as far as what this comment says. So I'll read it out loud.
So in case you listen to the audio back, yeah.
Yeah. So, Brian, awesome. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Brian says his problem is that agents, clients expect a level of service that is hard for an employee to provide. As the owner, I don't mind the late night calls, working weekends. My employees don't always feel the same way. So that is worth addressing. This is a very, very, very fundamental part of growing your business and scaling it. If your clients expect a certain level of service, which every client in real estate does, you are not the best person to provide it. If you are, you're not running your business at a high enough level. And if you're working with people that don't provide the same level of service as you do, you need to find those people. And that's a real challenge. But I would just tell you this from the get-go. Like, Matt and I will never provide the type of service that our operations staff does. It's fundamentally impossible.
Well, here's the thing. If you work with me and you'll know that.
Yeah.
Right? Ask Michael DeBacker.
I will openly admit that to my clients.
Yeah.
I was like, the next steps are, lady's going to reach out to you. You're probably never going to hear from me again. It's been great getting to know you and have an awesome time.
Yeah.
No, it's if you have people that know your business inside and out, here's the thing. Those people should be building your business, right? The reason that our operations staff provide such a high level of service because they built the model.
Yep.
Right? Like, we work really hard to go get clients. They work really hard to take great care of them. And if you're doing both, it's very hard to scale. But to address your concern, Brian, that's the way that you're feeling right now is how everyone feels in the beginning. Well, that's not a unique position to be in.
And I'll go back to my main point of we hire out of necessity, right? And so we just want to relieve that pain point that we're going. So it's a temporary Band-Aid or a temporary plug. And we're just throwing a pile of crap on them and saying, oh, go handle this. And then guess what happens? You as the business owner, I'm just going to go over here. I'm not looking back in this back direction where I just hired you for, because it's a shit show back there. I don't want to mess with that anymore. And so, we're not hiring the right people for that. But at the same time, it's also having and talking to the people that work with you and for you, and reminding them, not in a jerk way, but saying, look, the money and revenue that comes in to pay salaries here, that's coming in by our clients, right? So at the end of the day, I don't have unlimited funds. As much as I would love to have unlimited funds, we have to continue servicing our clients in such a high level that they're going to refer and or repeat their business with us, and thus leaves the opportunity that if you kill it, one, there's opportunity to continue growing within our company. And what does that usually lead to? Increase in pay scale or bonus structure or profit share, whatever you want to structure, however you want to set that up.
And here's the thing. So if you're in a situation as well right now where you feel like you're not able to replicate the level of experience, or you're not able to replicate the things that you're trying to leverage off at a high enough level, there's a couple of things that need to happen. One, if you're working, you need to identify somebody who's going to be talented in the first place. I think that if you need to have a pretty rigorous interview process. But when you bring somebody on, right, who's never either worked on your team before in this type of business or whatever it is, one, you need to pour into them at a very high level in a very structured way. Right. So, for example, when we bring an admin on, like, I have a structured time for probably the first 30 to 60 days, just depending on what the position is, where we are on a Zoom call if they're remote, or we're spending time together in person if they're local, hammering out this, and this every single day. And then what this, and this consists of is me teaching you about our current opportunities. Opportunities are what basically our problems are, right? Here's what you're going to be taking over. Here's what we already have systematized. So learn this. Here's why we hired you to fill in this gap, right? We hired you because I need to go get more clients and I need you to take over the balls that are being dropped. And then talent, when you explain what it is that you need from them and you set goals for, let's figure this out by then, let's figure this out by whenever, right? And then you address that in your next meeting, right? What are the solutions they've come up with? How are they going to handle this? This is what I think we get into we run into trouble. And I think we run into trouble with agents with this as well, is we're too inflexible with what we do, right? We bring people on to try to do things the way that we are doing them. That's usually not the best way to do things. We need to bring on talented people, describe to them what it is that we're challenged with, and allow them to be the ones that build the systems to fix it. Like the stuff that we do for our clients right now, Lady built it all. I have no idea what she does. I just know she does it, and it's awesome. Right? Like, but she knows what the challenges were. The challenges were, I never talked to my clients when she came on, right? Like, I didn't really, like, especially when it went under contract. As soon as the house went under contract, I was just like, cool, that one's done. Like, then my clients were getting a terrible experience. She does everything because she knew what the issues were that needed to be solved. I didn't try to force her to solve them my way. we hired talented people that created the solutions for us. And that's hard to find. The talent is hard to find, but that's the way to go about it, is explaining what it is that you need, not what it is that you currently do, and just having them replicate you.
I think I'm currently walking this out with Kelly, who's my EA. We had on Monday, we determined, for me, I just had a bunch of tasks that needed to get out of my way so I could see the next level. And I think a lot of individual agents, when they're hiring just their first admin, don't think about it as far as how are they going to set appointments for you and what. Like the first question you ask yourself is, what is the stuff that's bogging me down that I put on Kelly's plate? When I saw it written down, I was like, this is bullshit. Like, this is like the most minuscule of problems, but it's that first layer of stuff that I can't get out of my own way on, that as soon as she took it over, very simple stuff like, hey, I need you to send this email to this builder and set up a consultation for these people, right? That would take me God knows how long to do. Whereas I literally send her a text message and 5 minutes later I get a response back, done.
Yep.
Right? And so I think especially if you're thinking about making that first hire, you really need to be able to have somebody that you can comfortably hand that kind of stuff off to and not get it back. Right?
Yep.
So
100%.
So where are we going to find the talent, right? So to me, that's the number one hardest thing to do, right? Because, are you putting it on, is monster.com still available?
That one may have went away.
Did it?
I think the sure, maybe you go to LinkedIn or something.
LinkedIn, yeah, that's the new one, right? So LinkedIn, where are you finding it? Or are you going by referral only? Because I will walk you through my process.
Okay, let's hear it.
Right? So mine came from my first major hire was Stephanie, our assistant. Even though I hired an ISA before that I won't call that a major one.
Right.
That was very little money compared to what we were going to eventually pay our assistant and admin on that. But that came by a referral from our previous team leader at that Keller Williams office. It was his cousin that she was laid off during the recession, and so we went through the hiring process with her, and got went down the referrals and recommendations, etc. And then once we committed to hiring her, it was like, first off, we hired her. We got a steal for her at the time, right? We also had we were lucky to have the recession, helping us,
right?
Because she took a big pay cut. But even for our mindset, having that pay, we were like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's also what we freak out about.
Yes, we think about yearly salary and stuff like.
They seem like it's like, I think an assistant to somebody the very first time you're hiring, it feels like a debit and not a credit to your business.
Right.
And that's probably a natural mindset hurdle to have to overcome, but it absolutely isn't the reality if you hire the right person.
Right.
The right person's going to make you more money.
And so this was where leaning on people that have been through this process and it was decent at hiring. So our team leader at the time was like, don't look at it from the yearly salary. You're only commit to 90 days.
Yes.
Right? So he's like, you can afford, let's make even number, $10,000 over the next 3 months, right? And if you don't see an increase in your business because of the responsibilities taken off your plate, that you can get a 2 to 3 times return, then let her go.
Yep.
100%. And so what we then committed to doing was we put her through I think it's still around, the real estate assistant training. I think it's like a 5-6 week training. It was like $200 or something like that. And so we did that, and then we customized it to what we were wanting to do, and then it's evolved ever since.
Yeah.
Right? So we were not just lucky, we committed to that, and that was our first hire, and she's still with us today. But I've hired many more that, as we've gotten busier, our training sucks.
Yeah. Yep.
And so what ends up happening is we hire them, we have hopes, they don't necessarily own the role the way we want them to own the role. It's our fault for lack of communication, so I'm always going to put the blame on me. And then we start getting some resentment, and we both start resenting each other.
Yep.
And somehow somebody quits.
Yep.
That's a big thing, just to touch on. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'll let you continue. But that's your first hire has 2 jobs. She needs to be able to do, he or she, they need to be able to do their job. And then their second one is to document everything. Like if that's because their job should be to hire the rest of the people after that, or a big part of it, right? So like that's you say like your training sucks and stuff like that. Like that's something I think a lot of people kind of like skimp on a little bit or don't think about a lot. Is they're so ready to get this person up and running. Like we document everything, dude. Like just from top to bottom, which I think has been really, really helpful for us going forward when we hire new people and stuff.
And that's because people are hiring out of pain, right? So there's like come in and immediately take stuff off my plate, right?
Well, I had a lunch with an agent yesterday, and that's she's building up a team, it's a husband and wife team, and she's the main producer. Her husband just came on, but she also has a admin, and so she talked about the pain point is training feels like she's slowing her business down.
Yeah.
And so what do we do as producers? Like we want to run, right? We like if you feel like you're holding us back, then you immediately just like screw it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to pay you just to sit over here. Hopefully you can figure it out.
Yeah.
I need to go get more deals. And that's where the disservice is. And I still, today, we still haven't done that great of a job to have that living, breathing training manual.
Yeah.
Even with Stephanie. Stephanie has, a couple employees underneath her.
Mm-hmm.
But even that, we still lack.
We're the same. It's an uphill battle.
But and that's the thing. Don't focus on it, right? You can always improve on that.
Yep.
If you start dwelling on that, then you're just gonna
you just stop doing stuff. I mean, you and Lady are specifically walking this out as we bring on Chris and Kathy and partner with them, right? Like we'd have two high level, essentially director of operations and plenty of tasks. Now we just have to figure out who can do what. And I think a lot of what we're going to be able to implement sooner than later is because we have the person who built the systems and documented the systems now figuring out how to divvy up all the work. And that's going to be huge.
I think that's huge. But and as far as actually physically finding talent, I know that's something that people really, really have a lot of assumptions and fears around. Like, if we want to talk the basics, like put it on LinkedIn and Monster.com, if that's still there. The reality is like, I think for both of us, dude, I don't know if there's anybody that's been a high level producer that we've hired through one of those channels. It doesn't mean they're not valuable. It does mean that there is, like, look around you in the world. There's such an abundance of talent all around you at all times. You've just got to see it, and you've got to be aware of it when the opportunity arises. Like the reality is, I mean, we never poached anybody or anything like that, but this is a very transient industry with a lot of very transient sub-industries. We have hired people that have been escrow officers, assistants to mortgage lenders, right? Social media managers, right? Like people that have done jobs that are ancillary to what these positions that we're hiring for would require. And they were just ready for another opportunity, or it wasn't worked out, or, God forbid they got laid off or something like that. And we had a need, right? So part of it is keeping your eyes and ears open and never stop networking, right? You don't need to go out and try and steal people and stuff like that. But there is talent being released back out into the wild every single day. And I think one of the biggest reasons people think that identifying talent and finding talent is their biggest need. That's usually not their biggest need. Their biggest need is to be able to articulate to talent what it is that they need from them and what the opportunity they have for them when it arises. Because talent is everywhere. We see it every day. What I think is hard for a lot of people is to go, this is what I can offer you and what I need from you. Let's sit down and have lunch and let's talk about it, right? Like we go through our businesses, especially if you've never made your first hire before, you're like, I don't really know exactly what they would do.
Yep.
I just know I need somebody. So that having that articulation is huge.
I think if you have a shitty mindset around the long-term effects of lead generation and follow-up, this will be a hard concept for you to grasp, right? Because the idea of always just being in relationship with people will allow you to reach out to your network to find talent when needed, or will allow talent to come to you when they say, when they have an opportunity that ends and be like, hey, I know you guys have been talking a little bit about this lately. Maybe there's an opportunity for us to partner somewhere. It's constantly putting yourself out there. It's the same thing with your lead generation efforts, right? You're just doing the activity every day, getting in relationship with more and more people, and random opportunities will present themselves to you if you're doing that on a regular basis, right? We're always doing that. Yep. I think you and I specifically, there's somebody in our world right now that we're like, pretty soon when funds allow, that's somebody that we need to absolutely look about how we could bring on to do a ton of different things.
Yep.
Right? I think we always have people floating around. So you just got to peek at the people around you because, like you said, it's transient. Their opportunities are going to change probably sooner than yours will.
And understanding is easier too. Like you, as your business starts to flesh itself out, you understand your needs a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, and Brittany Evans just made a comment. they document every conversation and get everything in writing. So, if I could go back in time knowing what I know today, what I would do is I would go hour by hour and document everything that I was doing, then highlight the ones that could be taken off my plate. Right. Again, just like Rob, I don't remember what episode that was, Rocket Station, the virtual assistant company. I think Brian and I were part of that.
It was just you guys, yeah.
Yep.
I was out of town.
And so what he talks about, and the reason why he feels like his virtual assistant company is one of the best ones out there, is they create a living, breathing training manual that is always updated, so that if you hire more VAs through them, you're not the one that is training them. Your actual VA is now becoming the trainer, and so once you've documented once, which is the most painful part, because I'm gonna tell you, I haven't done that in a long time. And thinking about if I were to do it today, I mean, I'd much rather train for that triathlon that Brian's doing.
Try to train an admin right now.
I actually agree.
and so but just rip the Band-Aid off and do it.
Yeah.
And then go and start not hiring necessarily your friends. That's the next
I've
biggest.
done that.
I've done it too.
It's a terrible idea.
It can be difficult. It can really be difficult.
Yeah. So that's hiring out of desperation,
Yeah.
and you're hiring because you're like, oh, they know me.
It'd be fun to hang out with them. We could work together and hang out together.
Anything changes once you become the employee-employer relationship, it changes. Like, again, that would be like Brian coming to work for me, and I'm like, Brian, go do this. He's like, no, fuck you.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I'm like, no, I'm paying you money to do this. He's like, I don't care. We just drank Hard Claws last night. Right? So it's having that establish that role, and like you said, it's having the clear communication, and then spending that time with training.
I think that's the hardest part, right? Because you want to immediately get going. We've had my EA for 2 months now, and we're just now getting to a space where I'm using her any kind of effectively. Because one, it was left up to me, right, which was a terrible idea. And then after that, there's just normal logistical challenges, stuff going on in life and whatever. But I think the hardest thing for me was finding out the tasks, because I'm like Nick, I don't document anything. Like if I really wrote down what I did each day, I'd probably just be ashamed of myself. Like Facebook from 11 to 11:15, like whatever. So I didn't really when then all of a sudden when she leans in and is like, okay, so what do you need me to do? I'm kind of like, I don't really have anything to do, because I've been sitting and dicking around for the past hour, and I've kind of forgotten everything I need to be doing. So I would encourage you, if you're thinking about hiring your first admin, to start documenting your stuff right now.
Yeah, start documenting in the moment. Like, this is something that I don't need to be doing.
Yep.
And be honest with yourself about it, right? Like, there's a lot of things that you're going to want to hold on to that you just shouldn't.
Yep.
Like, there's stuff, especially for our agents, that they think they can only do, but it's just super not true, right? I'm talking like a lot of client communication stuff and stuff like that. Like, our VAs even communicate with our clients directly sometimes, and they do a great job, right? Like, I think that's probably the biggest get out of your head moment as an individual agent trying to bring on leverage, is like, if your business is solely dependent on your talent, then you do not have a business, you have a job.
Yep.
Like, that's all you have. And the reality is, for most of us, we are less talented than we think we are. Like, if it's coming to like, oh, I'm the only one that can do my job the way that I do it. Like, my clients will only respond to me. My clients will only take it seriously if I'm the one communicating with them. Like, either you're some sort of like warlock, or you're lying to yourself, because there's probably a talented person out there that would do just as good or a better job than you.
I think here's the thing, because I said that to myself. Like, I communicate in a way that only my clients like really appreciate, whatever. The reality is, if you still have time to do all that, you just don't have enough business.
Yeah.
And I want to almost get more excited, because like the hiring talent part sounds like a beating. The really cool part about it is when you do it right, because I've done it incorrectly 3 times, and am now on my first journey towards having the proper type of leverage. The stuff it frees you up to do, while at first is scary because it removes a bunch of your excuses, it legitimately just puts all of the fun stuff on your plate. There's no way that Brian and I would have the opportunity to do the shenanigans that we do for the video content standpoint if it wasn't for leverage. We'd be spending all of our time answering questions about documents and why this document didn't end up over here and why this sign isn't there, and did the house next door sell, and all these types of things that are really just informational data grab questions that we don't bring any value to that conversation, right? And when you can start doing that stuff, it just makes your job a lot more fun. You start bringing in business through different avenues, right? Like I legitimately have probably 5 hours a week blocked off to shoot video that I get to say is work.
Yeah.
Because it brings in business now.
It does.
And there's just no way that wouldn't happen. So as you're going through this process and thinking about how it can unfold, I know it seems like it's just going to be constant work, but the right admin staff will free you up to do the 2 or 3 things that you need to be doing.
Well, and the best place to start finding them. So again, let's go back to locating. Is with that by referral, hit up your vendors.
Yeah.
Right. So go to your title people. So marry them if you need to, and then mortgage as well as the brokerage that you're with. See who they have. I'm going to tell you right now, especially we're about to be in November right now. If you're listening to the replay, so we're not, the Halloween's on Thursday, so tomorrow, yeah. But we're starting to see a lot of agents that's business has fallen off, and they're reaching out. Yep. And they're not necessarily reaching out to join the team from a 100% commission standpoint. They're looking for opportunities from a salary side.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's talent in that. Most of them understand the processes, right? And so a lot of these agents probably should have been in some type of maybe an employee.
That's a huge place to find talent.
Yes. Yeah. And so what we've done really well at this and building up a potential hit list or bench is that I use WiseHire, right? So WiseHire's done really well for us to start locating talent. Right now, our investment side, we've got a lot of construction projects, so we're now hiring for a project manager and doing a lot of hiring on that. I mean, the resumes coming in. I'm looking for a videographer. I probably have 300 resumes for a videographer.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's all just from WiseHire. So if you're interested in learning more about that, we can probably get you a little bit of a discount on that. So make a comment below or reach out to us.
Yeah.
Go to the only real estate group worth being a part of, so that we can get you that info for WiseHire. It's $199 a month, but I think we can get you maybe off the setup fee or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's been really good for us. It's also been great for hiring agents.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can continue running those ads. And then, something that we do all at a high level is our social media.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're going to start looking for talent, you just got to be promoting yourself the way that you would lead generate for sellers and buyers.
It's so incredible, like the world we live in, how at this current point in history, how easy it is to just ask and you shall receive.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, man, if we were looking to hire people today at the point that we're at in our business now, the first thing I'd be doing is Facebook Live.
I did that for our video thing the other day.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, what stupid video should Brian and I go do? Like, I was getting people messaging me, which, by the way, looks like Brian and I are going to do a pole dancing class because that was an overwhelming favorite.
But Kyle Draper's going to do it with us.
And then it just ran away. Like, I was getting people private messaging me like, bro, you got to pole dance.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
It's going to be so ridiculous.
That's only something I'm doing with somebody else. Like me, you, and another like attractive character have got to do it. We got to get somebody like famous to do it with us. That'd be fun.
Yeah. So yeah, Facebook Live. So we've done a lot of that. We've done a lot of just hiring posts through Facebook and sharing that out. So that has been our top places. So referrals, just like your business, right? Lead generation through social media, through ad posting, attraction based, and then just funneling them through to determine what the DISC personality profile. So I usually I'll go through the DISC profile. WiseHire will automatically set that up for you. But I will determine, all right, if I'm hiring an agent, I'm really looking for anybody that's an ID, high I have or high D, and there if we're hiring admin staff, I really want to see those S's and C's. We will make exceptions on our agents if they're S's because once they get confident and trained really well, then they can actually transform and show up as any of those other three characteristic traits.
I think that's a really cool way of going about it. Brian and I, like when it comes to an agent standpoint, we're just like, oh, you say you can sell real estate?
We'll see.
Come on.
We'll see.
Welcome to Thunderdome, bitches. I think with admin staff, and it's funny because I've never adhered to the disc chart at all because I'm a super high I, so why would I? But like I think the really cool thing about it is you can find some pretty quick determiners. I've even suggested that I think around our office, and this has nothing to do with hiring talent, but I think it has to do with retention and overall culture in the room. Like legitimately having everybody take a disc chart and then like you put whatever their disc is above their desk, like facing back. So whenever anybody walks up behind them, it just says like, "Hi, I'm Matt. I'm a high I. This is how you talk to me."
Right.
So that would be a challenge. Perfect. So that would be a challenge for me to talk to you in all the other different ways.
For me and Nick, it would be, "Hi, I'm a high D. Use as few words as possible and keep this short."
Yeah,
that's perfect though.
If you ask people in my office, if you're talking to me and I'm not looking directly at you, then I'm not listening to anything you're saying.
I legitimately reached out to an agent on your team. I was like, "Hey, I asked Nick something to do something for me like a week ago. He hasn't got to it. Can you help me out with that, please?"
Yeah, that's my bad. I know. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Are you handled?
I think I'll be all right.
Okay. Good. So check out Enneagram is what Brian Fox said. So
Enneagram.
Oh, somebody's been talking about these. It's just another test, right, Brian?
Enneagram.
Yeah, it's another test. It really will help you kind of show personality profile. So it's all. Here's the thing: the more that you understand people, especially their love languages, right? So this is something I'm really bad at. Ask my wife Heather. Ask Elizabeth. Ask my staff, especially Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for Stephanie's work anniversary, she just buys her own gift. Right? I mean, we're just not the greatest at those the words of affirmation, or we're not great at acts of service or gifts. Yeah. We're not great at any of that. We're just like, screw it. We're working. We're head down here and focus on that.
What else you need from me?
Right?
So we
got paid this month.
Yeah, we expect our people to service themselves.
Yeah, exactly. See, I'm the exact opposite. Like I receive my love by you telling me how great I am, and then I show my love by buying you shit.
Yeah, giving gifts is yours for sure.
But at least, but once you become aware of it, so I'm aware of it, especially with Elizabeth, right? Hers is acts of service and then words of affirmation. Mm-hmm. Really, words of affirmation. She's actually all of them if you ask her. So it's you've got to really be mindful of that because it's all about the praise and really showing your people. Mm-hmm. So understanding that. What is that book? Is it the Five Love Languages? Yeah, Five Love Languages. Yeah. So just read that and understand it, and that will also go along with.
It's only like 100 pages. Pretty good.
Yeah. Large print.
Yeah, it's like a coloring book.
It is.
It wasn't my favorite book.
No, it's not the most well-written book in the world.
This sucks.
But the thing is, I think the trait part of it is really. I think that part is dead on for the people it's for, right?
I think you should read the 4 Agreements and the 5 Love Languages in the same weekend, and then you'll come to work on Monday and
my head will just explode.
Like a cloak, like a Middle East, like a very spiritual, barefoot. Like all of a sudden you have super long hair.
Brian Fox also said that he wore a body cam during a few inspections so he can show his guys how he interacts with clients, agents, and how he inspects, and then had Fiverr clean up that video. I mean,
what did Nick's wife just say?
His love languages are receiving all 5 and giving none. See, so we invite her to watch. That's what happens.
I really
firsthand.
First off, I'm not I don't really enjoy gifts, Heather. So you know that. Mine is time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just spend some time with me, please.
He just wants to be cuddled.
I do.
He wants to be Little Spoon every once in a while.
Who told you?
I was there.
I don't like gifts though either. People are like, "What do you want for Christmas?" I'm like, you to not make me uncomfortable by giving me a gift that I don't want.
The only person I ever know what to ask for is my mom, because I know she'll just give me whatever random ass thing I want. So like this year, I was like, "Mom," it's like, "What?" I was like, "I need one of those NutriBullets." It's like, "Give me one of those."
Yeah, I'm like,
I like getting people gifts. I pretty much have everything I want at this point, unless you're gonna buy me a 458 Italia. I'm set. I don't want to pretend to really be into whatever you got me.
So you guys, we're kind of off the rails here. We only got a few minutes left, anyways. But so like for the Stephanie's gift thing, you guys just like, hey, here you go. Here's the company card or whatever.
She already has a company card.
She has it.
She's just like, hey, I'm going to go buy this. And I'm like, cool.
Right?
So, but at the same time, we do other things. So we've opened up, we're helping her build a transaction coordination business, right? So she can continue increasing her income. Brian gave a hug as a gift out to your mom.
Yeah, it's from the heart.
There's a scene in Friends where it's like, my last birthday, you gave me a hug. So funny.
I remember that.
But again, there's I mean, Heather takes care of her people,
Yep.
right? Heather's all about giving gifts.
Yep.
She's amazing at that, right? So, you know, it's as long as your people maybe understand what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
I mean, in our world, they know how Austin and I are, right? Elizabeth, in fact, we're celebrating her 4 or 5 years, 6, whatever, how long she's been with us, anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, hey, Austin and Nick, you're taking me to this place.
Yeah.
Cool. Book it. We'll go.
So
We'll pay for it. We'll spend time. She wants to spend time with Austin and I. We'll do it. Just go ahead and do the upfront work.
Yep.
Right? And so from a training aspect, how are you guys training?
The agent side of things I think is really great. We just had a really awesome influx of some really dope agents. So our room's changing a little bit. But from the ops side, I mean, dude, mad shout out to Lady Force.
I was going to say, what we did was he trained one really great person.
So mad shout out. She's sleeping over there.
She's so overworked, she fell asleep on the
They are
couch out
not
in the
even
green room.
kidding.
Dead asleep. Anyway.
Filming off a mobile camera.
Oh, she heard. She just woke up. Hey. No, honestly, we trained one incredibly talented person at a high level who is working in unison with me to train the rest of the people.
Yep.
And it is just a lot of pouring into people. It is really having your stuff dialed in before you expand, I think, is a part of it. And then documenting. I do so many Zoom recordings and make so many quick guides and things like that. It's just process, man. We're far from perfect on it, but I can only stress this enough. It will all start with your first hire.
Yep.
That's gotta be a talented person.
And here's the thing is, guys, you can get a free Zoom account where you can record yourself just doing your stuff. Why not record yourself running a CMA? Record yourself scheduling showings. Record yourself doing everything and just starting a Dropbox file with all this crap in there. And then whenever you have somebody, or you bring on an agent, say you hire completely ass backwards, you bring on a buyer's agent before you bring on any admin staff. Not advisable.
Don't do it.
But let's say you do that. At the very least, and it'll probably be a new agent because that's the only person to be attracted to that nonsense.
Yeah.
Right? So like now you have this library of video that you can be like, go watch these.
Yep.
Right? You know, I think it's a lot easier to document stuff. It doesn't need to be written down in a book.
No.
You can do all this for free, super easy during the course of your day.
Google
Right.
Drive and Zoom, and you're done.
And when we were really doing this really focusing on the hiring part back in 09 and 10, I mean, I don't think Zoom was around. If it was probably really expensive. So
I'm sure it was.
So from the video documenting aspect, there was some companies out there we looked at, it was just more expensive. Now that's all pretty much next to
So
nothing
easy.
free. So you're 100% correct, and it's the same thing that we do at Tor, right? So we do Tor, with the classes and courses that we offer. So TorAcademy.com, sign up for $1, whatever that offer code is.
$1. All you got to do is go watch the Take 10.
Yep.
Go to TorAcademy.com/Take10. There'll be a button on there to get Tor Academy for your first month for $1.
$1.
Yeah.
check it out.
And we should actually have on there more about how we train and hire our team members.
I think that's a course idea. We should build that
Yep.
out.
Yep.
We'll have our admins do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's do
We
that.
just took an hour saying how we have no business touching the admin side, and then we were like, let's tell everybody how to do it.
So
Exactly.
so let's get 5 people to sign up on that,
Okay.
and then we'll go ahead and get that course made.
Nice.
If
That's
5
perfect.
people sign up today, we will make a course on how to hire and train the perfect admin.
That's right. So do your part, people watching.
Billionaire idea.
And we're off.
Derek, I saw the Joker movie recently, and I don't know if you have.
I have not.
If not, this is relevant regardless. So, spoiler, I'm not going to ruin the whole movie for you. He turns into the Joker at the end.
Oh,
So, sorry.
Bum, 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 bum.
I'm so tired of movies that take what should otherwise be super innocuous interactions between people and then make them full-on plot points. Don't make any fucking sense whatsoever. So this is just the latest in a long series of beefs that I've had with Hollywood over this particular cinematic device.
I forgot this is Brian's movie critic hour now.
Yeah.
At least for the time being, until I think of some more billionaire stuff. But there's a scene in The Joker where he gets in trouble at work. And I'm going to talk about how this is the exact same scene that happens in a shitload of other movies, just disguised differently. He gets in trouble at work for no reason. Some kids jump him when he's being a clown. They break his sign, and like the sign gets broken. And so his boss is like, why'd you do that? You need to give this guy's sign back because he hired you to be a clown and you messed up his sign. And Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker, he's like, no, some kids jumped me. And his boss is like, no, they didn't. You're lying to me. And he's like, fine. And he just takes it. Not 30 seconds before that, he was out there in the locker room of clowns talking to these other clowns, and those other clowns were like, hey, I heard you got jumped. In real life, this would never happen. If you walked into your boss's office and he was like, give this guy a sign back, you're like, I got jumped. He's like, no, you didn't. You'd be like, no, I fucking seriously did. Like 14 people, fucking Doug right outside, we're just talking about this. And you'd be like, Doug, did I not get jumped? And Doug would be like, yeah, you got jumped. You'd be like, see, I got jumped. Right? Like, I know, I get it. The movie's about, like, it's not even about the Joker, because I get it. There's like some mental illness problems in there. I hate, because here's what happens, Derek, is like he carries that with him the rest of the movie. He like carries that interaction with him.
Becomes his lifelong mission
like this,
to prove the kids
what
wrong.
in real life would have been solved with like one fucking sentence. Like, no, seriously, like these guys were just talking about it. Why are you making this a thing? That would have in real life been cleared up very easily. Instead, turns a man into the Joker. It's insanity, right? And you know what, Derek? It drives me crazy because it's the same scene as every like rom-com you've ever seen in your life, where like at every rom-com there's a point near the climax before they get back together and they like say, I love you, I'm so sorry, like whatever, right? There's a point where they have this like divide, right? And normally what happens is like the two people who are gonna fall in love or whatever, like she sees him at the park with another girl or whatever, and then she's like, she just like drops the flowers on the ground and storms off, right? And he sees her and he's like, no, wait, Becky, and tries to explain, but he doesn't get there in time, and so she just leaves. And then it flashes like 3 months later or whatever. In reality, he would just fucking text her and be like, this is my sister, by the way. I know that I just saw you throw the flowers down and walk off. Like, don't be so weird about this. Like, there's always just like a lot of stuff in those types of movies that like I feel like could so simply be explained in real life.
Logic starts to fail.
But yeah, people just don't. They're like, well, I guess we're not going to talk for 6 months, and hopefully we'll get back together and live happily ever after in 25 minutes towards the end of the movie. It's the dumbest thing in the world. It doesn't make any sense at all. Just, I don't know. It's crazy to me how a real, I wouldn't say it's crazy, it's sad, Derek. It's sad to me that a small misunderstanding that Joaquin Phoenix could have easily just explained away, instead got all those people killed and turned him into one of the most notorious villains of all time.
Is this a...
Gotham City needs to do a just better job of communicating with the civilian, like its people.
So-
They're just,
life moments with Brian. Just speak up.
yeah,
So you're
exactly.
saying 2 thumbs up to
Yeah,
go see it.
Just say what's on your mind. Shoot a text. Something.
I don't think there was no text messages then.
Well,
It wasn't modern day.
I'm saying people would have vouched for him. I don't know why he just sat there and took it. It didn't make any sense to me, and that drove the whole movie forward. So anyway, check out the Joker in theaters now.
Check out the Joker in theaters now. All right, touracademy.com/take10 TEND. Get us out, baby.